I'd like to ask you 4 questions. 1. Have you ever thought you should cut down on the amount of alcohol you drink? 2. Have you ever felt annoyed by others who criticise your drinking? 3. Have you ever felt bad or guilty about your drinking? And 4. Have you ever had a drink first thing in the morning to steady your nerves or relieve a hangover? 2 or more yeses suggest that you have a problem. You might think, well, I'm not the type to get hung up on drink. But as we've seen in previous programs, people drink heavily for different reasons. Many for social reasons, for a buzz, seeking happiness. Others use drink as a painkiller to numb the deep hurt within. But there are those who see drink as the peace giver. Now we live in a very uncertain world, and perhaps there's never been so much stress and anxiety. Nothing seems safe or permanent. Everywhere we look, there's trouble and unrest. It's so easy to come home from work, open a bottle of wine each night, and escape into that little world where everything seems rosy. Yes, you might have noticed the thread that runs through each of these reasons for drinking. It's the recurring theme of escapism. To be honest, these are difficult days. Our GPs are stretched to cope with the number of people seeking help for depression. Industry is hit hard by the thousands off work due to stress. It certainly is not easy living in this 21st century with all its pressures. However, we need to ask ourselves, am I a realist or an escapist? The escapist can flee for refuge in any number of directions. The realist, however, will seek to deal with the big issues of life, those that often underlie the real reason for our insecurity. The realist will ask vital questions like, who am I? Why am I here on this planet? What happens when I die? If there is no God, if I think I'm in this world just by chance, a mere digit on a computer, just a temporary speck of dust on this larger speck of dust, the Earth, then that certainly is depressing. But then if I begin to think that there is a God, then what is this being like? And what will happen to me when I die? Oh, death, that awful D word. Let's forget the whole thing. What a relief it is to learn that in this uncertain world there is a God of power and of grace. The psalmist declares, "Who is God besides the Lord? And who is the rock except our God?" And again, God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in times of trouble. Now notice I say that there is a God of power and grace. If God were just a God of power, we have every reason to fear. He could blot us out without a thought. But He's also a God of grace. That means, although we've done much to deserve His righteous anger by living as rebels and going our own way, in love He seeks the lost sheep as a tender shepherd. It's for this very reason that Jesus came. "I am the good shepherd," He said. "I've come to seek and to save those who are lost." The amazing thing is that Christ spent much of His time with outcasts and no-hopers, the riffraff that the religious leaders of His day had written off. Jesus is still the friend of sinners. I'm certainly glad of that. In fact, in the next program, I'll share my own story of how He lifted me from hopelessness. But how about you? Are you fearful, anxious? You need a right fear. The Bible says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. That means when we get our priorities right and put God first, He will take care of us. When we leave our path that leads to destruction and follow Christ, who is the way, we find that our fears are removed. Christ lovingly said to His followers, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." So, take heart. In Jesus Christ, you can become more than a conqueror. Be like the psalmist who said, I sought the Lord and he answered me. He delivered me from all my fears.